I'm going to go through the whole empty bowls glazing process with you and try and make it so that when you get here, it's going to be easy and fun, and the bowl you make is going to be fabulous. So, start with a mixed bowl. Don't struggle about choosing exactly the right bowl, because this is not a bowl that's going home with you. This is a bowl that you are going to be glazing that's going to go home with somebody else. So it doesn't have to match your kitchen or be perfect in your living room. Just choose a bowl that you think is going to be fun. Bowls that have texture, one color of glaze is going to go in and out of the texture, and that's going to make it interesting all by itself. Bowls that are smooth will allow you to be the artist and paint a pony and a carousel and rainbows and butterflies, whatever you want. Okay? So look for texture and smoothness when you choose your bowl. Start by rinsing your bowl. Not a big deal. You're not washing it as if you were going to have a meal. Just put a little bit of water. It doesn't have to be fast. And then lightly run your hands over the entire surface of the bowl. Shake it off. That's it. Okay? So it's not about cleaning the bowl. What we're doing is we're knocking the dust off the bowl, so we end up glazing the bowl and not the dust. This is what happens if we glaze the dust on the bowl instead of the bowl itself. So that's bad. We don't want to do that. Okay? Great. Once you have washed your bowl, just put it down in front of you and go through the color chips, which look like this, and find the colors that you want. When you find a color that you like, look at the back of it and it'll tell you its name, and then go ahead and choose the color that matches the name. Okay? Next thing we want to do is we want to mix the color up really thoroughly, because we're going to be working with glaze and not paint. So glaze is basically chemistry that when it heats up in the kiln to about 2,000 degrees, it actually turns into glass. It turns into a thin layer of glass that coats the clay and makes it so that it's food safe. So, first thing we want to do is make sure that lid is on. Because sometimes if someone just sets the lid back on and it looks like it's secure, when you go to shake it up, if that lid's not on, you'll end up cleaning the ceiling, which, believe me, is not as much fun as it sounds. So, make sure the lid is on and give it a really thorough shake. Okay? We're going to check to see that this is the right texture before we begin our glazing. So, to do that, we're going to dip our brush into the glaze, and we're going to look for something that looks like yogurt, or actually like heavy cream. Look at that. If it's going to flow off of our brush, then it's going to flow onto our clay. That's perfect. If it is a little bit thick, don't worry about it. There'll be yellow containers of water here on the table, and just add water a little bit at a time, put the lid back on, and then shake it back up again until it's the right texture. Alright? It's very, very important for us not to mix the glazes. So, at no point when you're working will you ever have more than one open container and one dirty brush in front of you. That way you don't have a chance to put a dirty brush of one color into a different color. So, one of the things that's great, because we're glazing and not painting, cleaning our brushes is really, really easy. You'll go ahead and take your jar of cleaning water, your dirty brush, you'll stick it in there, and you will waggle it vigorously. Okay? If it's not making noise, you're not moving fast enough. We don't want anyone dunking the tea bag at the ladies' luncheon at the garden club. That's not going to clean our brush. We need to waggle that brush so that it knocks all of the glaze right off of the bristle. When your brush has been cleaned, you will take a white towel, and if things have worked out, this white towel will be right here on your shoulder. And you'll take the brush and you'll put it between your fingers in the towel, just like this, and you'll squeeze it. Okay? We're not twisting the brush, we're not yanking the brush, we're just taking the brush, putting it in between our fingers like this, and squeezing it. If we do that, that brush is already dry, and we don't put it on the table, we put it back in the container. All of the round brushes go in the round container, all of the square brushes go in the square container. Pretty easy system, hard to mess that up. If you spill something on the table, do not use your white towel to clean it up. The white towel is only going to have water on it from cleaning our brushes. If something spills on the table, we've got yellow towels. Use the yellow towel for spills. The yellow towels will live on the table, so they'll be easy to find and easy to use. So, very important for you to have at least 2 coats of glaze on your bowl, because you can see we just had this bowl soaking and already it's dry to the touch. The unglazed clay is like a big sponge and it'll soak that water right up. The same thing will be true with food. If we put soup in here, the soup, if there's an unglazed portion, will soak right in there and it'll spoil inside the bowl and mix with whatever we have next. Bad.
Bad.
So, we need at least 2 coats in order for there to be enough chemistry for the glass to form and make it food safe. If we only have 1 coat, then it doesn't form the glass and it's not food safe. Okay? 2 coats, at least 2 coats. You can have 5 coats if you want, but a minimum of 2 coats. Alright? The last thing to remember is we don't glaze the bottom of the bowl. We leave it bare. That's only because glaze is really, really expensive. Some of the jars that we're going to use cost $90 for a jar. So we want to use the glaze, but we don't want to waste the glaze. When we put this in the kiln, if we form glass on the bottom of the bowl, it'll permanently stick to the kiln shelf. It'll ruin the kiln shelf and it'll ruin the bowl. So we're going to clean it off anyway. So if we don't paint the bottom, then we don't have to clean it off, we don't have to waste that glaze. Some of these bowls, it might be tricky to figure out where exactly the bottom is, but I've got a trick for you. Hold the bowl like this and lift it up until it goes just past where your eyes are. And when it rises up there, you're suddenly going to see that flat place. When you see that flat place, just put your finger where you see it go flat. And that is the edge of your bowl, and stop there. Okay? Whoever is helping you today is going to make sure that they wipe your bottom before you leave. So don't worry about that. But let's not waste glaze by putting it on here. Alright? So, 3 things to remember. Number 1, we need to glaze this bowl minimum of 2 coats, inside, the edge, the outside, for it to be food safe. Number 2, it's really, really bad to cross-contaminate the glazes. So we can only have 1 open container in front of us and 1 dirty brush at a time. We clean that brush when we're through, dry it on the towel, and put it back where it belongs, so no brushes ever go on the tabletop. And 3, we don't glaze the bottom. Okay? So, with that in mind, a couple of hints to make this easy for you to do. Number 1, choose a background color and get 2 coats on right away of your background color. I recommend choosing one of our square brushes to put on the background color because it'll lay on smooth and easy, and you'll get that sort of startup task accomplished really quickly. Alright? When you're using these brushes, you don't want to dip it up to the wood. Okay? The only part of the brush that does any work is the bristle. And actually, all of the glaze comes out of the very end of the bristle. So we do not want to do this. Okay? That's not going to work for you. But we do want to do this. Alright? Use the very end of the brush. You're going to start by glazing the inside, the rim, and then down about 1 finger's width on the outside, completely 2 coats to begin with. And I recommend that you move slowly, about like this, in order to get that smooth, even coat every time. Alright? Let gravity work for you. The reason we only glaze down about a finger's width is so that we have a nice place to hold on to while we're working. So, tip the bowl so gravity works for you. It's really hard to push the glaze up the hill, but if we tip the bowl, now glaze is going to want to run downhill, and it's going to be really easy. So, do the inside, move about this quick, it'll make it really easy. Do that edge, and then go down about 1 finger's width, 2 coats. Once you've done that, once you've got your base coat, you can do whatever you want to do next. If you want the glaze to do all the speaking, go ahead and just let all these different shapes and marks make a variation in the glaze, and it'll be beautiful. If you want to paint a perfect heart on the bottom here, go ahead and do that. Always choose the right brush for the job. This is a great brush for doing big areas. This is a great brush, which comes to a point, to do any detail work. All right? Don't worry. Don't stress, okay? You have this idea that you're going to make a perfect little red heart on the bottom of this bowl, and it's going to be fabulous. Everyone's going to want your bowl first, right? But let me let you in on a little secret. No one else in town knows that you have this idea about the perfect little heart. So, if you're making your heart, and suddenly it dribbles, do not freak out. Don't freak out. Just take a breath. Look at that heart with the one dribble and think, well, I guess it's not going to be a heart. Go ahead and add 3 more legs there. Add a little head with 2 ears, and now you've got a little red dog on the bottom of your bowl, okay? Someone is going to love that little red dog just as much as they were going to love that red heart. All right? Don't stress. You can't really make a creative mistake here. If you dribble something on this side, then go and put 3 dribbles on that side. Let it balance out. It's going to be all right. They're all going to turn out looking terrific. So, once you've got all of your design work done, all of your creative choices made, remember that we glazed the inside, the edge, and then down about a finger's width. At this point, when that rim is dry, you're going to take your bowl and you're going to flip it over and rest it on your outstretched fingers. We don't rest the bowl onto a hard surface because this hard surface will knock the glaze right off of the bowl. That's kind of undoing all of the work you just did. So, spread your fingers, set the bowl on your soft hand, and work from there. Because you've already glazed up about 1 finger's width, you won't glaze onto your hand. You're going to stop where it meets, right here. Do your trick where you find out where the bottom of the bowl is, and then glaze the outside of the bowl. Remember, 2 coats of whatever you want. It doesn't have to be the same color as you did here. You can do 2 tones, 3 tones. Anything is good to go. All right? Ultimately, what you need to do is make sure there are no pinholes, that all of the glazing is complete, especially in the inside. So before you're done, make sure that whoever's leading your team, we're going to ignore the phone, whoever's leading your team takes a look at your bowl slowly with you. Sorry about that. Make sure that they look at your bowl with you, and I say that they're going to look at it slowly, because they're going to really look at every surface to make sure that one of those little pinholes hasn't popped up. It's really important that you do this with whoever's leading, because a lot of these glazes, before they turn into glass, look exactly the same. So they can't go back later and fix it for you, because something in the jar that says it's green might look brown. And something in the same jar that looks blue is actually going to be pink. So you know what you chose, but if you go home, they have no idea how to help you later. All right? Once that bowl is completely glazed, they will clean the bottom for you, and they'll put it on the rack. You can come back starting the middle of January and see if you can spot the bowl that you made. And in any event, we'll see you at the Empty Bowls event, which is Saturday, February 15th, at the Convention Center from 11:30 till 2. I look forward to seeing you here around the glazing table, and I especially look forward to seeing you at the Empty Bowls Project of Paducah.